or speaker would like to present, or anyone? Yes, VP Gladys.
Okay, far away. All right, so for student life, I do have two topics that I want to kind of test the waters on with GA. But first, I want to call attention to 3 initiatives that Student Life has completed thus far this year. So I'm not sure if they're all here, but if you see Representative Giannini, he completed an initiative on bike signs, safety signs around the construction area. Representative Rangaswamy completed an initiative getting more outlets in Norton Sears for those study spaces. And our at-large member, Alonda Gaduni, worked on gluten-free options at Fribley, so that's exciting for Student Life to see. So the first thing I wanted to ask you all about was, what would you like to see done with Twing after the new University Center opens? Up until this point, there hasn't been much student input on what's going to be done with that space, but Vice President Stark has now asked us to submit some ideas. I put something out in the USG newsletter to kind of pull all of campus, but obviously you're all here every week and I'm sure you have some ideas, so 1, 2, 3, go.
Representative Paul.
Are they going to convert the ballroom into another classroom or into another lecture hall?
Nothing has been decided yet. That's one of the options, is to do that.
Mr. McKee.
I want student reservable space to pretty much remain as much as Twing as possible. There's been some discussion of like a centralized office space for different groups, for student resources specifically, which would be cool, until I realized they're pretty much only spread out between Yost and Sears as it is. So they're not that far apart. I don't know, but that's another thought. Feel free to fight me on that one.
And also, just to kind of speak to what you said about reservable spaces, one of the things that has come up in discussion as well is having classroom space during the day, but then after a certain hour, it would turn into reservable space for student groups. How do you feel about that? Yes, no? Or just Yes, okay. Thanks. Anybody else with suggestions?
Not recommending this, but is tearing down Twing an option that we can start considering?
I hadn't heard of it. In the past, I've heard talk of maybe tearing down the atrium because that's not a historic part, but the 2 buildings that are in between really, I think, are historic, so they don't really want to take those out.
Any other questions for VP Gladys? Vice President Beckman.
I would like to see the ballroom untouched, just because I think it's a really cool space and a lot of events are held there every year. And I think, especially if you factor in that maybe some of the large spaces may have a charge associated with them, having a free option for large event programming would be really valuable.
Treasurer Tierney.
After speaking with several students, I've heard them ask for improvements to be made to the stage within the ballroom, especially to the curtains and fly system there so that it's safe for performances.
Any other suggestions for VP Gladys? What's your last name?
Kramer.
Mr. Kramer.
Going off of Connor's suggestion, it would also be very nice if some money could be allocated to enhancing recycling within things, since so many large events are held there.
Representative Paul.
So I have a friend who works in Twing, and he told me that there's a lot of spots, especially in the upper floors, that aren't being used at all. So one of the options, can we renovate some of those spaces and maybe use those as classrooms? Is that something that's... Okay.
Representative Cook.
I know we brought this up in student life, but just to get an opinion from all of GA. I know the commuter line is in the basement of Twing, and it doesn't get used hardly at all by the commuter population because it's just so far away people don't see it ever. So maybe moving that into the LGBT lounge space because it's already outfitted to be a lounge, and it would be a little more visible for people on campus, so it'd be more likely to get used.
so we can give more space to other activities that have a high occupation rate.
Mr. McKee.
Sorry, I also just realized on the classroom note, some thought that the twin ballroom being a classroom would basically make it the worst classroom, right, with the Ford auditorium classroom. Like they'd instantly be fighting for worst lecture hall on campus. So, in my opinion at least, I don't know if you've ever been in Ford Auditorium. It's pretty bad for classroom space. This is my only thought. So they'd have to probably put a lot of money into going that route to make it a good space. So that's another concern.
President Gallo.
Also maybe look into some more storage space for purchasing organizations.
Is that all for that one?
VP Beckman.
Oh, I just want to say that having class in twins sounds like the worst thing ever. Just in my opinion. I don't know.
Any last minute ones for VP Lattice?
I also have another topic to bring up, but I'm actually gonna hand this one off to Representative Shrikant.
Okay, I'm like right over here in like the corner. But me and Taylor met with Elizabeth Click, and she was the okay, I got it. So I like never okay, but we met with her, and she was the one who talked about the tobacco-free policy, and I know a lot of us had a lot of opinions about it, but during her meeting, we actually realized they haven't decided whether or not to actually implement a tobacco-free policy. They're going around to different organizations to figure out if this is something that our student body wants. So like a lot of the logistic questions that we were asking aren't really applicable because they're just making a draft policy, and if they decide to implement it, then they're gonna have committees and like various organizations and like have the opinion and like try to figure out how it's gonna work out. So like right now, like me and Taylor are gonna work really hard and try to think of a resolution of what we think about the policy and try to get it done by January 1st, because that's when they kind of want to get an idea of it, because the earliest they want to be able to implement this policy is fall 2014, but they don't think it's like very likely that they're going to be able to get it done. But like they want to know what our opinion is first, and that's why we're thinking of getting a resolution out by January. Because if there's enough momentum that a lot of people on campus want a tobacco-free area, then this is going to happen. But if the momentum slows down and like we at least show that it's not something we like, we can maybe make an impact on whether it does get implemented or not. So I don't know, like I kind of want to get everyone's opinion about it and like what you think about it, and then maybe at the end get a vote, just like as a general idea, so like me and Taylor know what like us as an assembly really think about it. So does anyone have any opinions?
Any opinions on the resolution? Representative Wong.
I totally agree on, we should apply a policy to reduce cigarette usage on campus or make it less impactful to general student body. But the specific details, I agree we could discuss that more specifically, but I generally agree we should have a policy to reduce cigarette usage.
Representative Brennan.
This is more of a question. Did they, I know this is still like in the planning phases, but do they have an idea of what they would consider on campus? Because Tesla is in the middle of campus, but is that technically going to be something that's on campus?
When we were talking about it, they still haven't decided on the logistics, but one thing that she really emphasized was the fact that it's going to be tobacco-free. So it's like, we're not going to ever get like an in-between. So like, if all of our campus is going to be tobacco-free, it's all of it. Like, you know how she was talking about Euclid and the streets, like how it's like a like in-between area? They still want to suggest like no smoking at all. It's just like, it's hard to control with public people walking around, but it's like something that our whole campus would be like following, so.
Representative Macedonia.
I know they haven't worked out the specifics or logistics of anything, but like how much money and how much effort are they willing to put into enforcement? Because as I see it, they aren't really willing to enforce the policy as it is now. And I feel like even if students really want to have it be tobacco free, if they're not going to allocate the proper resources to like enforcing the policy, I don't see how this is
points regarding the potential resolution. Representative Fennel.
Yeah, I'm not super convinced that people are going to quit smoking because the case tells them to. And also, if we take away the ashtrays, they're going to throw them on the ground. That's what's going to happen.
Rep-
My opinion.
Representative Amin.
So my personal opinion is that like they should do a policy that's more like helping people quit, because I know there's significant people who do smoke sometimes do want to quit, but they're just barriers. So I feel like maybe in our resolution we should include something about like working on that more than they have been in the past.
VP Gladys.
If you read your USG newsletter that went out last night, there was actually information about a cessation program. We asked about that because we think also that right now, if they are even thinking about this idea, like we said, no one's gonna quit tomorrow if the policy goes into effect. So it's like, try to be proactive about it, so they're gonna continue to send us information about cessation programs because they're just not very well advertised to students at this point. So just so you know, they are available.
Representative Yi.
I have a question about, if we make the campus tobacco free, does that mean like cantinas and like the small stores are gonna have to stop selling cigarettes too? Do you know about that?
They haven't really worked that out. I think that's something that they would have to talk about later.
VP Beck.
I just think that before they decide whether or not they want to pursue a tobacco-free campus, I think the logistics are really important to that, and that they shouldn't decide either way unless they have this concrete plan. Just because it doesn't make sense to say something and then try and follow through with it and have no way of backing it up if like it's an enforceable policy.
I'll allow 3 more minutes on this topic. Oh, 5 more minutes on this topic. Mr. McKee.
So I guess taking a step back, and I might be a little off question, I'm not sure, but yes, I'm absolutely in favor of them looking into a tobacco-free policy. I would love for campus to be tobacco-free, and setting aside all the details, like I definitely think, I personally feel at least that's something to look into. I am with a lot of people in that I can't support or be against any specific implementation until we see it, but I would definitely say it's something they should keep looking into. I don't know that they'll find a realistic solution, but I would love it if they really seriously work on trying to hammer out those details. I think that'd be really cool to see.
Representative Serrati.
As of looking into solutions, I'm against the no tobacco policy, because in reality, the students that are smoking, they're not smoking because it's cool, like we're past that era. It's usually like high stress, and so that's what they turn to. And right now, the smoking zones that are in place are usually out of the way of students already, and making like tobacco-free campus would push students off campus. And I know we talked about this last PA, but I know most smokers that I know of, their smoking is seasonal based on stress that they have in school.
Representative Ramaswamy.
My biggest reason for being against pushing for a policy is honestly I can't think of any way to make it enforceable and make it fair and make it safe. And I don't want our administrators / students / people taking up time that they could be spending doing something hopefully more productive than trying to figure out a smoking policy that I just don't envision happening in a way that's effective for this university and for the population we have. Also, one small side comment, if we don't own the store, we can't control what they sell.
Representative Hall.
So, Representative Shrikant, I know you touched on this a little bit earlier, but is there a specific reason that the university is pursuing this all or none kind of policy? Because I was kind of thinking about this, and I thought it would make maybe a little bit more sense and be a little bit more feasible if maybe we did something so that you can't smoke maybe near the areas where we have a lot of classes and a lot of traffic, like maybe in the quad or in Mather Quad or something like that. But I don't want to see I don't want us to pursue like a tobacco-free policy that forces students off campus into areas of the city that might not be safe at certain hours of the day.
Representative.
Oh, can I respond to that? Just because we talked about it, and a big reason why they're pushing for it is a lot of Ohio universities are like being like pushed in the direction of tobacco free, and we're like taking the initiative before it's like a rule or like a law. Yes.
Representative Mom.
So the fact that we're having this discussion with multiple people having different opinions about this just shows how badly we need to get the student opinion on this. As I think we've talked about before, we've had very low student input on this, even when we tried to get their opinions. I think we need to work on that first before we pass any resolution, because we're supposed to be endorsing the student opinion, not just our own.
Colleen.
Can I just share that historically, the smoking forums, there have been at least 3 since I've been here, have been the most popular. So, for what it's worth, I agree with you.
Representative Wong.
Okay, so I think no matter what the effect and outcome is, at least if we have a bill like this, we will have make our gesture and then we will exert a virtual effect on smokers when they're trying to smoke on campus. They will feel pressure if they go against the rule, and it will actually reduce the fact that they will smoke on campus. Another thing is, what we care more about is the relatively larger non-smoking population on our campus. Because, as I learned, that secondhand smoke is actually more harmful to non-smokers than smokers themselves. So what we care more about is how to protect the health of the majority of our student population on campus that is not smoking. And might be able to get some exceptions like sidewalk, where they can choose to smoke, but within the campus, within the core of the campus, is trying not to let people smoke by exerting a gesture. And besides, we are a good university too, and we should just make some movement to show our trend.
I will extend time because I think that there's a little bit more, so 2 more minutes. Representative Brent.
Sorry, it's too complicated. I just want to make a quick comment. As a nursing, one of the nursing representatives, I have a lot of patients in the hospital who smoke. And something that I've learned is that they're going to quit if they want to quit. It's just, it stinks because smoking is one of the worst habits out there for you health-wise. But with that said, if our campus can take a stand against something that is knowingly affecting the health of our population, I think it would be generally a positive thing, and it would show people that, you know, our campus cares a lot about their students.
Representative.
I know we talked about this last time we brought up the GA, and I know it was touched upon in the email last night. But what does someone, or if I may ask someone a different initiative, I believe we're going to ask other universities that have this policy already in place how effective it actually is. So have we gained any information as to how effective it is at other universities?
Representative Ward.
I'm from UG, which is where the University of Oregon is, and they recently implemented tobacco, or they're like in the process of implementing a tobacco-free policy. And I know as far as the way they're paying for it is through health insurance. They're getting a huge cut on their health insurance for the entire university because they implemented this policy. So I'm not sure how well it's working so far, but if cost is a concern, I think that could be avoided.
Any other discussion points? I think we can take 1 more. VP Glass.
Well, yeah, it's not a discussion. But, okay, so what we were talking about was maybe having like a vote tonight, but not, and obviously the vote wouldn't count for anything. And I do want you to go talk to your constituents, and we plan to do more research to kind of get a better idea. But I guess what I'm thinking now is, what I'd like to see in the resolution is maybe that we tell the administration whether or not we support them looking into a tobacco-free policy. Like, do we support the idea of being tobacco-free at Case Western, like logistics aside? And then also have a portion of that resolution that says we want them to come back to us when they formulated and figured out more of the logistics behind this. Because I think it's too hard for us to, like, I don't wanna say no prematurely without giving them a chance to figure these things out. I'd like to see them come back to us with an actual plan, and then we can decide then if that's something we actually want to do. But at this point, my question to you is, do you support, in your perfect world, Case Western being tobacco free? So can we?
PP Gladys, would you like to send out like a anonymous survey, or would you rather do it on the iClicker right now?
We could do it on iClicker if that's easier. I just, like, as a sample size of students, because you're all students here, you can answer how you feel personally about being a tobacco-free campus. Don't worry about how it would work yet. So,
Alright, so the polls will be open. Please press A if you want to support. Please press B if you are not. Please press C if you would like to abstain from the vote.
I just want to remind everyone that it's voted by your constituents. So if you believe your constituents would like for us to look at this policy, then vote how they would feel, not necessarily yourself. This isn't your personal opinion.
wait, no, that's not what I want.
Oh, never mind.
No,
That's
this,
okay.
I'm saying like this vote doesn't count for anything. Like, I just want to know, as students at Case Western, how you feel about this issue.
So your personal opinion.
Yeah,
Completely
literally.
disregard everything I just said.
On that note, because it is like a personal polling, I think that normal assembly rules don't apply because we just want personal opinions. So if appointed representatives would like to, or appointed members would like to also submit their opinions, I think we allow this one for that because nothing is official at this point. Yes, Representative Yi, did you have something? Okay. Alright. All votes have been submitted.
Okay. That's 64% in favor of tobacco-free. Yes, that's how we were doing it. I was just like,
Was your point that the non-voting members should also participate? Because if that's
Oh,
so,
yes,
then.
yeah, this is a personal vote, this
Well,
is
then,
nothing official.
But like, there's a lot of people in the room without eye clickers.
Okay.
So should it just be like this?
yeah, but then.
Or is it the worry that you don't want to be out there with cameras?
We can do it again if you'd like, it's up to DP Gladys' choice.
Okay, yeah, let's, do you want to do the people who didn't have a vote, would you like to vote?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, you got it?
Okay.
Alright. Okay, so are we reading the votes now? Do you want to, and do you
We
want
can
to
redo
see
the votes, we'll open the polls again.
But people don't have.
Yes, the people who don't have iClickers. Okay, we can do it by hand then. So, those people who do not have iClickers, if you are in favor of the policy, please raise your hand.
Just do it quickly.
Would you like to do what iClickers will?
Does everyone who didn't have.
I'll get the appointed eye clickers.
Okay.
If you don't have an eye clicker, raise your hand right now.
Yeah, you guys are free to vote on this. This is just a
Oh,
general
we're
survey.
voting too? Oh, I don't have a clicker.
Wait, these.
Yes, you may vote.
Oh, are we just raising? Okay.
No?
Yeah.
You guys know how to use these?
Yeah, just press the button, right?
Yeah, just press on
What
and
are
then
the
vote.
choices?
A is yes, B is no.
Yes, you support tobacco-free, like campus.
Alright, all those who do not have iClickers, please raise your hands. Mr. McKee can hand you one.
Oh, that turned on.
Alright, thanks
It's
guys.
not turning on?
No,
Settle down, we just have a few more minutes to go, so, Chief Judicial Officer, please open the polls back up. A is approval, B to oppose, C to abstain. Yes. A, do you approve of the current university initiative to pursue this policy? Representative Paul.
Point of personal preference.
Granted. Alright, on that note, we will continue into the committee/officer reports and open forum. If there's even any representatives who've just read the officer reports and the VP reports and you'd like to ask any questions about an initiative, now is the time to do so. So are there any other discussion points? Representative Cook.
I know I think it was in the PR committee about getting information for the freshman representatives to all the dorms. Has any sort of percentage, but I feel like commuters are probably, at least judging from the past, one of the most underrepresented groups on campus. And I feel like it'd be really beneficial for all commuters to at least know who their representative is, and there's no real means in place right now for that.
President Gallo.
So as a commuter rep, how would, like, I have no idea, like, how commuters communicate. Like, how, like, what do you think would be the best way to do that? Is there?
As of right now, like, I try to go down into the lounge as much as I can to at least, like, meet as many people as possible, which just highlights the fact that because the lounge isn't used, the ability for commuters to actually see each other and meet each other is very low. Other than that, like, the only thing I know of would just be to start, like, an email sort of notification to try to form, like, a little relationship between, like, all the commuters and all of their little separate circles, and maybe through me into USG, like, sort of like email correspondence, because it's not as easy for, like, freshmen or any commuters in general to just, oh, I'm just going to walk upstairs and find my representative.
Any points for the speaker? Mr. Kramer.
I was just gonna ask, point of order, how many commuters are there approximately?
Extending an upperclassman, I think it ended up being somewhere, I think about, like, the last number I saw was like 700, because anybody who lives in off-campus housing counts as a commuter. But among the freshman class, there's about 30, so roughly about the same as maybe like a dorm floor, I'd say.
Treasurer Astley.
I don't know if my microphone working. Have you tried talking to the Commuter Student Association at all? I know Dan knows the president. I think I know who the president is. I don't know his email, but I'm pretty sure that he's also the chair of Compass, right?
Yes.
So that would be a good contact.
Alright.
His name is Carlin Jackson, by the way. Real nice.
Any other questions or suggestions for the speaker? VP Toros.
Just as like an FYI, I guess, I didn't include it in the report because we didn't really discuss it in detail PR, but the idea is to start with the freshman representative advertising who they are in their dorms, but then obviously to continue on to have, showing people who the engineering representatives are, the art and science representatives are, or whether their representatives are nursing in their each individual, general areas. So that's the next step in a broad kind of overview. But right now, that's why I put it in for Representative Carmar who's working on it. So if you have any questions about that, or you want help to do that for the freshmen, or then even continuing on to the caucus, contact her about that.
Anything else for the PR committee in this initiative? Alright, if not, we'll open it back up into the open forum/report. Is there any other points of discussion? President Gallo.
Alright, so just like hitting on the main points, the executive committee approved 2 co-sponsorships, both are in there, SLJC and Magnolia Residential College. As far as that goes, the Jack Bash, which is one of the things we're co-sponsoring, is this Friday, so go out and support that. I'll talk about that in a little bit. Committee time, I mean, we just kind of go over everything, so read through that if you have any more questions. Discussion, we talked about SLJC, which is the Student Leadership Journey Council, becoming a possible ad hoc of the USG. And for those of you that don't know what an ad hoc is, it is a committee approved by the president and under the president, and reapproved every year. And it's pretty much just a committee that the president feels is a good fit for USG and something that is important for the students to have an opinion on. So currently one of our ad hocs is SSC, which is Mr. Kramer. That's why I said sustainability when he was talking about recycling bins and twing, or whatever it was. Yeah, and the other current ad hoc is Compass, which is, you've heard me talk about that before, is the master plan committee, figuring out how buildings are used, what buildings should be built, torn down, raised, if you prefer that word. So we talked about SLJC becoming an ad hoc. I'm currently talking with the president about the possibility of it. And what they do is they just help develop leaders within USG, mainly organizations out of our 170. So it seems like it's a good fit. I'll update you guys more on that later, unless you have questions now. Open forum, we just talked about the most recent SEC meeting. I put the main points in there if you want to know. Office hours, fun fact, Halloween edition. So, bet you didn't know that. And I still want to do more one-on-ones with you guys. I've already talked to my executive board, but I'd also love to talk to you guys as reps or at-large members also. I think it's important. I've already met with a few people. They've been great, so let me know if you'd like to do that. Oh, and so getting back to SSC, the Student Sustainability Council. They came to our executive meeting, as you can read right there, and I'll just provide a little more clarification on creating a resolution to ask the university to divest from its fossil fuel investments. So obviously, as a USG, we don't have an opinion on this, but as an ad hoc, they're able to create these bills and bring them to our attention. So they would like to try and recruit some USG members. Treasurer Toomey has already agreed to help them draft this legislation and present it to the assembly. So if anybody is interested in that, Connor's the person to talk to. Cool. Any questions for me? I tried to type everything out.
Representative
Yes.
Swami.
This is just a thought, but having like SLJC, the way I viewed it is almost like a mentor for student groups to some degree, and having it independent from USG, in my opinion, is a good idea because it shows that, you know, they are a third-party source to come to. They're not just, you know, under USG, quote unquote. That's purely my opinion on it. I'm not against them being under USG, but I think them being a third party has its benefits.
And can I ask what those benefits are?
Yeah, sure. Well, in image, you know, by being a third party, you're not necessarily quote unquote influenced by the master organization. You can offer a complete third party opinion. I think that it's an image thing mainly. I think the benefit. And then my other opinion on having them separate is, I guess for me, it's just it gives them a little more autonomy, a little more independence to do what they want. Because not every you can't really control what a president's going to be like ever, you know, in any organization. But having that autonomy allows you to mold your organization a little better. I mean, I'm sure you would be 100% okay, and I'm sure the future presidents will, but you never really know. And I think autonomy is a powerful thing. That's purely my opinion. And I'm not against them being an ad hoc 100%, but I would prefer they're not, I guess, if that's where I'm going at.
Any other points for President Gallo? Any other committees or speakers or any representatives who would like to bring up a new topic for this forum? All right, if not, we'll move to the next item on our agenda, advisor's report. Oh, she's not here. We'll come back to that. Any announcements from the General Assembly? Mr. McKee.
I have a couple. So, first of all, nachos, 10 p.m. tonight, Siggy Newhouse. If you've never been, we literally stand around and eat chips on cheese. You're all invited. For spring break, I'm going to Jordan for a study abroad program. There are other open slots. If you want to go to Jordan with me, come talk to me. To get into character, I did dress up tonight. I'm the student from the security alerts. As a side note to that, check your stuff before you leave. I have several items in my pocket that don't belong to me. If you're interested in going to Dancing with the CWRU Stars this Saturday, remember, come talk to me afterward. Then on to two other more serious announcements. I'm looking into spring retreat for GA. Sort of like we did in the fall, but it's just one day for a couple hours on a Saturday. I want to know what you guys want out of it. In the past, it's been a lot of let's reevaluate our goals. This year, I'm thinking about taking it in the direction of let's do more professional development type stuff. But it really is a retreat for what you guys want to have it be. So I can plan a whole bunch of cool stuff, but I'd rather hear what you want me to plan for you. So if you have ideas, get at me about it. And then finally, one issue I'm looking into, for those of you who don't know, at the beginning of the semester, Case passed a new interim sexual misconduct policy. Let's see. In part, two things I'm worried about are it reads, any member of the university community who is consulted about and or witnesses behavior involving potential sexual misconduct has the responsibility to report. That follows with the university community's members' duty to report includes instances in which a person who heard about the sexual misconduct from another individual. So even if you weren't directly reported to, hearing about it would require you to report. From the Panhellenic Vice President of Communications in an email to the Greek Life Presidents stated, this means that on campus, everyone affiliated with the university in some way, specifically friends, faculty, sororities, sisters, fraternity brothers, etc., are considered limited confidential resources. If a limited confidential resource becomes aware of any misconduct, they are obligated to report to a higher authority. If the limited confidential resource fails to report the incident up, they can experience legal implications for not doing so. I have some problems with it. I'm looking into it because, admittedly, I'm not an expert in this regard. The university employs people who are, so I'm going to be talking to them. If it's something you're also interested in looking into, come talk to me because I'm going to be doing research into it. That's all. Any questions?
Treasurer Aslan?
Is Sue Nikolshanov is she still the sexual misconduct person?
She is the Associate Vice President in Student Affairs who oversees some of those issues. She is not the person who is in charge of Title IX reporting, who is most in charge of this policy, but she's sort of the level above them. But they're both on my list of people I'd like to have a conversation with this about. So, sort of.
Treasurer Toomey?
If anybody else has something for Matt, they should go before.
Representative Swami?
Not this Saturday, but next Saturday is Saturday of service. So,
Treasurer Toomey?
Last time we were here, I made an announcement about the safe zone training that we were setting up, and I wanted to remind everybody that that is going to be not next Tuesday, not the Tuesday after, but the Tuesday after that. So 3 weeks from now, it is, I believe, the 19th of November at 6. And if Emily is pro enough, she'll send out the sign-up sheet for it again with the minutes. Because I really appreciate knowing about how many people are going to be there.
VP Beck?
As most of you have probably noticed, I'm dressed as an elephant. But more importantly, I'm wearing this pink bow tie. This week, Sigma Nu is having our philanthropy event. We're raising money for the National Breast Cancer Foundation. So if you are interested in buying this bow tie right off my neck, $10. It'll go to a very great cause supporting cancer research and prevention studies.
VP Wyatt?
While we're going on philanthropies, coming up on November 16th, FIMU is having Hoopapalooza. It's a 3v3 basketball tournament. We raise money for Children's Miracle Network hospitals. So if you're interested in signing up or getting a team together for that, please talk to me. I just wanted to bring it up this week because the deadline will be really closely approaching by next year. So I just want to get it in your minds now. So.
President Gallo?
Yeah, I forgot to, it wasn't in my report because it was actually happened a couple hours before this meeting. But I was at a faculty senate meeting, and since this is announcements, I'm not going to go over it. But if you want to know what we talked about, then find me afterwards. Also, email me for those one-on-ones. It will be in the GA list tomorrow, but if you want to get a good time slot, then do it before everyone else does.
Representative Serretti?
Along the lines of more philanthropy, Sigma Psi is having their Mr. Crew event November 15th, and any organization, including USG, can submit a male model to participate in Mr. Crew. In addition to that, group tickets can be bought. So you can ask me about that, November 15th.
President Gallo?
I was going to say, Mr. Cruz, fun and awesome. I was in it my sophomore year. Sadly, I lost in the first round, actually. But it's okay. But it's really fun, so I would definitely recommend considering
for your contestant, and it goes to our philanthropy, which is Cleveland something rape crisis center, yeah, so that too.
Any other announcements? I have an announcement. Okay, so first I'd like to say, in terms of the whole officer slash committee slash whatever VP reports that we're calling it, caucus speakers and caucus, obviously you guys are all part of the caucus, so caucus representatives, you guys may also bring up any initiatives that you guys are talking about as the meetings get going and you guys start having initiatives. So please feel free to join in on that open forum. Also, I would like to kind of echo what President Gallo said because I think it's something really important and it's something that some of us forget sometimes as USG goes throughout the year, and now that we're about at the halfway point, I think it's a great reminder. But please remember that you are all valuable human beings. You are all been elected as a representative or appointed as an officer. And I think it's really important that as a representative, you guys represent your constituency. I know that sometimes in like really passionate debates, you sometimes get caught up in your own emotions. And I think that your constituency doesn't limit you to your caucus or anything. It could be your organizations, it could be your friends, it could be anything else that you're involved in, your fraternity or sorority. There are many different communities that you're a part of that case. And I just really encourage that you guys speak on behalf of all of them and people that you know, like even in terms of smoking policy, if you guys know anyone who is like that and you're like, oh, this is something that applies to their life or this applies to some of my friends' lives or whatever, that's technically still part of your constituency. So I really encourage you guys when speaking in GA, you guys can speak on behalf of yourself, but also remember that you represent a large portion of the student body. After that, I would also like to remind speakers, please see me for about just 5 to 10 minutes right after GA, so just come up to the front and I'd like to talk to you. And last but not least, just on a really positive note, I am really happy that more representatives and more people of the GA got involved. You guys are forcing me to remember last names, and I'm really bad at them, as you can tell, even if people have known for over a year. So, yeah, it's good that you're continuously challenging me to remember these things because I have terrible memory, and that means if I am not calling your name out frequently, then you have been participating, and that's a good thing on both of us. So there's that. And last but not least, again, going back to the whole officer forum and the caucus / open forum thing, it's really good as the progress we've made so far. I'm really happy, personally, as speaker, and I guess as Peter Troy or whatever else I am, that this is happening. I think this is something that's definitely new that we're trying out, and on executive talk about wanting more discussion, wanting more talk time instead of just announcements being thrown on your face and whatever else. So I am really happy as long as some committee reports lasted. I don't think that's a problem. I think that just means you guys had a lot of things to say and were passionate about it. So I'm just really happy with the meeting today, and just props to all of you guys. So snaps for you guys. On that note, I think there are more open forum stuff. So oh my god, this is Treasurer Astley.
If you came in late or if I didn't call your name, please come talk to me afterwards so I can make sure that I get you down.
Representative Boishner.
Please go to sir. Vice President Beckman first.
VP Beckman.
I want everyone to save the date, November 23rd. That is when Mass Funding Day is going to be. The Finance Committee is going to need a lot of help from all of you guys. So save the date. Mass Funding is going to run from November 11th to the 22nd. That's when submissions will be accepted. But we're all going to get together on Saturday, November 23rd, and review all as one big happy team. So look forward to it. There will be more information to come.
President Gallo.
Just for those that don't know, mass funding is probably the best day of the year. So I have fun every year there, and I know you will too. So I look forward to it.
Representative Boishner.
I think it's important and pertinent to GA as a whole if before adjournment we find out the name of the person who gave that chocolate frog to you that on Valentine's Day.
Noted. Any other topics to open the forum? motion to adjourn. Representative Amin.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Alright, it has been moved and seconded to adjourn at 8:16 PM. All those in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. The ayes have it and the motion is adopted. This meeting is now adjourned.